Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Sunday, baby. It is Sunday. And I'm loving it. I am loving it. So, what inspired me this morning to wake up and talk about something that was kind of unique for me anyway. I thought it was kind of unique, if you ask me. But I wanted to share something with you guys. Hey, Ryan. I wanted to share something with you guys about one of my very interesting failed attempts as a coach that I happened to experience. This did not just happen. This is an oldie but goodie. When I first started my wisdom coaching practice, that was really hilarious, let me tell you. So if you guys don't know me, I'm Carla Nicole. I'm a single mom of 2 children. They're not children. Well, one of them is not a child anymore. She's 21, and my son is 12. And I actually do wisdom coaching and create jewelry. I mean, there's a lot of things I do. But outside of that, I have very unique experiences with my practice that I just have to share sometimes to kind of help other people to see some things that maybe we don't even have an idea about. I have people become clients because of various different reasons, some of which the reasons are I guess, what would I say, unpredictable. I never really know. Why is somebody coming to me and asking me to help them? Why is somebody coming to me because I'm usually doing what I'm doing and not really, focused on expecting somebody to arrive in my cipher and ask me for help. So it's kind of unique that in my practice I've had some very different, unique situations that happen. And it's just mind-blowing. So anyway, let's get right to it. So I had this client come to me and ask me if he could have some help. What he was struggling with was he was not having any partners, sexual partners. Hey, our kitty. He wasn't having any advances. He wasn't having women approaching him. He wasn't even in... I guess he was just very alone. He didn't have any opportunities to advance himself into a sexual agreement with somebody he could trust. And so he asked me, he says, what does someone do that is struggling sexually? What does someone do that doesn't have anybody? What does someone do that, has a high sexual desire but can't find somebody that they could trust and be sexual with? What does somebody do? So when he came to me, he says, can you help me with this? Because I'm really struggling, and it's really to the point where I am, I'm just at wit's end. I don't know what to do. So I said, okay. I said, well, let me get back with you. Okay. Let me do some research. Let me find some things that I can help you with to try to curb. I know you have a high sexual appetite, so let me come up with a plan to help you, first of all, curb your appetite, and let me come up with ways that you can try to, get more social and get more involved and let people know that you're interested in maybe evolving yourself into a relationship or, like to get to know some people. So I'm giving him all this information, right? Now, as a coach, it's often surprising what the outcome's going to be. Mind you, I do studies, I meditate, I go in drill mode. I'm a beast. I'm grinding, like trying to find everything in my power to help this man that is sexually oppressed, sexually frustrated with a high ass sex drive. What am I going to do to help this guy? And I'm like, whoo, this is a big one. So let me just tell you, I go on all kinds of tangents trying to find different ways to, reading and researching and trying to figure out what can he take, what can he do outside. And then but it gets better. What he was telling me was his drive is high And also, not to mention that, but when he would self-please himself, it would make it worse. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, he's like, so even when I do that, it's not cutting the mustard, man. I'm still struggling. I was like, whew. So I go into, like I said, I go into beast mode. I'm trying to do everything in my power to help this gentleman do what he needs to do, to get where he needs to get, to have a decent, a decent life. Because it's not fun to be sexually oppressed or sexually frustrated. That's very, 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 very tormenting for someone that has a high drive. So I said to him, I said, well, let me see what I can do. So I did all this research. I did all the investigations I could do. I found all kinds of stuff he could use and do and come to him. And I give him all that I laid out and found for him, which was pretty damn good if you ask me. Just do this, do this, do this. Gave him the whole rundown of what I know as a coach, number one. Number two, what I can give him to help him to suppress some of the desire, what he can do here, what he can do there. And guess what? So I don't talk to him for a couple weeks, right? This man calls me back probably a good 2 weeks later. Now I'm thinking, oh, he's doing wonderful. I haven't heard from him. He's doing great. And guess what the hell he tells me? I said, so, hey, Octavia. I said, so what did you do, my love? So how are you doing? He says, well, I'm about the same. I said, okay. I said, so, I gave you all those tools to use. So what did you do? He said, well, I appreciate all of your work and stuff, but I ended up getting a prostitute. I said, what? He said, yeah, I just, there was no other way out. I just couldn't. Blew my mind. I was like, okay. I had no words for him. As a coach, it's not my job to judge you. It's not my job to tell you right from wrong. You know right from wrong. So as a grown-ass woman, I can't tell a grown-ass man, like, that is not okay. You don't do that kind of stuff. Do you know that is immoral? That is improper. You could have got arrested. I could have gave him a whole list of reasons why he was wrong for getting that prostitute. But I had to step back as a coach and sit down for a minute and say to myself, well, wait a minute. Rather than judging it, let me learn something that maybe I didn't think about. So I was really upset, not necessarily with him, but with his decision. Not with the decision because I felt like he made a decision that wasn't beneficial to him, but I thought to myself, that is not what I wanted you to do. So I'm saying all this. It's a reason why I'm telling you guys this. So then I had to go into my own self because, of course, as a coach, I could sit on my high horse and tell him you were wrong for that, and you should have done this, you should have done that. That wasn't appropriate, and this and this and this. And then I had to sit and look at myself. And I said, well, have I ever been sexually oppressed myself? Hey, Kareem. Have I ever been sexually frustrated myself? Have I ever had a season where I didn't have somebody available sexually? Have I ever had a situation where I was sexually frustrated, sexually upset, sexually dismissed? Have I ever had that in my life? And I had to be honest. Hell yeah. Here's the thing. Then I had to sit back and say, well, what was my opportunities? Did I have opportunities? No. And there's not male prostitutes that I know of. I mean, we hear of the fuck boys, but we don't hear of male prostitutes out here offering to service us up so we can pay for it and get it. So I didn't know nothing about that world. If it's a world out there that does that, there may be. I don't know about it, but don't tell me about it. I don't want to know. I'm just saying. I was unaware. I'll put it that way. I was unaware of that particular world, right? So I'm like, but if it would have been me and I was sexually frustrated, I was sexually oppressed, I have a high sex drive, I didn't have an opportunity, and a fine gentleman that is of my taste happened to be and I had access to that, would I have chose the same? Because I'm not having any activity or any partners available at the time. What would have been me? So when we are weak, or when we are frustrated, or when we are sexually unavailable or don't have someone, what the hell do we do? And then I was like, I can't judge this man. Even though I was not happy with his decision, I couldn't judge his decision. But what I can do is ask him, okay, so you did do that. You did get you a prostitute. How do you feel about it? What is your take on it? What did you gain from that decision? Did you actually think at yourself at that point? Were you proud of looking at who looked back to you in the mirror after you did that decision? He said to me, no, I wasn't happy with the decision, but I went for what was available to me. I said, okay, you know what? I'll give you an A for that, because at the end of the day, you can look yourself in the face and say, I did what I should have. I did what I did because I did it based upon what was available at the time. Now, see, sexually being frustrated isn't unknown to many people. We don't talk about this stuff. We don't sit down, especially as single people. We don't sit down and say we have moments that we are frustrated sexually because we don't have anybody available. We don't talk about that. And we definitely don't talk about that stuff as women. Women don't sit around and talk about, yeah, you know, when I'm sexually oppressed, I do this, and this. We don't talk about it. It's not in our dialogue to even own that or to even talk about it, because it's something that's very frustrating when you are a woman and you're sexually frustrated and you don't know what to do. You don't. So a gentleman that is in that same situation, I had to tell him, listen, I'm not here to judge you. But what I am here to do is to provide you with resolutions to these situations. And let's keep it a buck. You're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything to change your situation. So you choosing to pick a prostitute was your choice, okay? But did you do any of the things that I told you to do or offered up for you to do and try to change the result that you had? Did you do that? Did you do any of those things? Well, no. Why? Well, because I'm not a very social person. So you're not a social person does not give you any reason behind wanting to keep getting the same result over and over and over again. You know what I told him? You're going to go right back and do it again. Because you're really not sitting down and looking at what is the scenario. Why am I here? You're doing these prostitution arrangements, but you're not making an honest critique to yourself as to why am I doing these arrangements? What am I doing? Hold on a minute. We have so many opportunities, right? We have so many opportunities to make change, to decide differently, to make different agreements in the mind, heart, body, and soul. So what do, right? I'm sexually oppressed. I don't have anybody available. So what do we do to change that? It was easy for him to do what he knows. He knew how to find prostitutes. He knew how to do it. So it was easy for him. That was simple. That was easy. I said, but it was harder for you to change the rhetoric, to change the decision you made. It would have been easier to just do what you always do. And you got the same result. And now when you look in the mirror, you're still sexually frustrated. Can you get the prostitute again? Sure, but you're still going to be miserable. So now we're right back here again. So I wanted to share that with you because I want you to know just because I coach you as a client doesn't mean that you're going to make a decision I'm going to be proud of. That was probably the worst decision, I think, out of all the people I've coached that made that decision, and I was very disappointed. I'm like, I went hard in the paint for you to choose differently, to do differently, to have a better result. But we're here now. So now that we've done this and we went through this, what can we do to avoid this from happening again? First of all, you're running on a gerbil wheel. You're going in the same place over and over and over again. So why? Because you're not wanting to face the truth, which the truth is this. You're wanting intimacy. You keep telling me you're sexually frustrated, but it's really that you're intimacy frustrated. You don't have anyone in your cipher. You don't have anybody that you're talking to, you're conversating with, you're mingling with, you're talking to, you're bouncing yourself off of. You don't have anybody. So at this point, you're frustrated sexually. Why? You're sexually frustrated because you're not making changes to change that rhetoric. If you want something different, you have to do something different. You can't pray this away. You can't pray away sexual frustration. You can't. Sorry. You've got to do something. You can't pray that a man will show up. It doesn't happen. You can't pray that I hope that woman that I think is fine with the nice body and stuff. You can't pray her in your life. That's not how it happens. You have to do something. And like I told him, you're going to continue to have these situations as long as you continue to do the same thing you're doing. If you remain in isolation, if you remain doing the same thing, you're going to get the same result, hands down. So as far as I'm concerned, the only way you're going to change what you're doing is by changing how you're doing things, period. So here's what I suggest for people that are going through this. I know some people are sexually frustrated. I did a post the other day, okay, asking people, so what sexual position were you in this weekend? And 98% of the answers was 0. No one was sexual. So I was like, really? Nobody's making love? What's going on? Okay, you're single, I get it, but nothing? Why? So if we're continuing to have this conversation, if I'm continuing to see people sexually frustrated and sexually oppressed and not having a sexual partner and not doing anything different, why? It has to be something that you're not doing that you continue to do and you keep getting the same result. And the funny thing was, the ones that were having sex, they were having various different sexual positions. So I'm like, okay, so the ones getting it, they getting it. The ones that aren't getting anything. So there's a high chance that those that are not being sexual aren't getting sex because they are sexually oppressed, sexually unavailable. They're not putting themselves out there. Nobody knows you're sexually depressed or sexually oppressed because you're not saying anything. Listen, I say this all the time. The way your love life, your self life, your parental life looks is based upon what you put into the life you're talking about. If I'm always depressed, if I'm not loving myself, if I'm not excited to get up out my bed every morning because I'm not happy about my life and what it looks like, that is on me, because only I can change what I see every morning. Only me. There's nobody else out here that can make my life look better than what I see in the morning because I'm the one that creates it. Facts? So we have to sit back and look at it. Well, if I want my sex life or I want my intimacy to be better and improved, I got to change some things. I can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Because every time I do that, it's going to look like this, no matter what, hands down. So why I shared that with you is because I had to tell him the decisions you're making, okay, the way you're going about doing what you're doing is resulting in you buying prostitutes because you don't want to make a change. Now, in order to make a change, that means you're going to have to look deep inside yourself. If you're antisocial, you don't want anybody in your cipher, you don't want to get to know people, you're going to continue to be sexually oppressed. And guess what? Inevitably, you're going to do random, I don't know if it's just random. I don't want to use that word. You're going to continue to make negative decisions sexually. You're not going to put forth effort because you're only going to want to pay for it. Because that's easy. Especially if you're a man or a woman that has the money to afford it. I just pay for it. It's easy. Okay. But what else are you getting? Emptiness at the end of it. You're getting emptiness. You're not happy inside. You're still feeling like I did all of that. I got all of that off, but I'm really still sexually upset. I'm still not feeling the real thing that I want to feel, which is a cultivated intimacy. You want to feel the confines of having a relationship. Relationship doesn't always mean that we have to have someone in our life full time. It could be somebody that we are cultivating a culture around being and caring about each other. We make this stuff so hard, but it really bothered me that there were so many people that were sexually not getting it in at all, nothing, for a whole weekend. Like, you didn't do anything. And I'm like, really? What is going on? So obviously, good morning, Lisa. So obviously, when we are sexually oppressed, sexually frustrated, do you realize that a lot of times when we're sexually oppressed or sexually frustrated, we make a lot of decisions that normally isn't beneficial in the long run. We make decisions on trying to connect with someone based upon how good they look, or based upon how good they make us feel, or so we think they make us feel. But we have to step back and say, is this person really benefiting me full time in my life, or is it just that I like what they look like? And so it's important that we sit down and start to really realize that we can get into a situation where we are sexual with somebody just to use their body and their sexual organs for our pleasure. And nothing else. That's it. I don't want you for nothing else. And there's an emptiness in that. There's an emptiness that goes inside of you for that, and there's an emptiness that goes inside of that person for that. Because both of you know you're being used. You're not really truly trying to cultivate a care for this person, or not necessarily an obligation, but you don't care to really know a lot about that person. I'm not trying to get all in your life and know all of that. I'm just trying to be what? Like Jada said, entangled. I'm just trying to entangle with you. I just want to what? With sex, we just want to feel good. I just want to feel good. Okay, but once you feel good, then what? Because feelings change constantly. As parents, when we were first all in love with our babies when they're first born, and oh my God, they're so cute, and then all of a sudden they make a whole bunch of mess when they become toddlers, you're like, this baby, I'm really frustrated by it. Feelings change. Especially in relationships, especially when you're involving sex, it changes. So we have to step back and say, okay, well, with all of that understanding, I get it. But also understand that when we do things, when we want things, we have to really look at ourselves. What is it we want? Well, I want a relationship. Why? Do you even know why you want a relationship? Is it that you want sex? Because if you're wanting sex and you're wanting only that, then keep it a buck. Don't add somebody in that I want a relationship when it's really not what you want. You're wanting sex. Just be honest with yourself. Because he was very honest with me. Now, I was just getting that off, but now I'm still not happy. I'm still not fulfilled. Why? Because you have other things inside of you that are being unfulfilled by you first. When I talk about loving self and what does our self life look like? We have to first get fulfilled inside of ourselves first. So before we implement a different soul or a different spirit or add on somebody in our life, we first have to be fulfilled in our aloneness. We have to be excited to be by ourselves. We have to have joy for just being who we are. We got to have all of that in place before we try to add somebody new, right? Why? Because our self life is very important. Being solo, I talk about that all the time. Solo, shine on loving oneself. It's vital. You have to love you first. We're doing everything opposite. But then also we're sexually frustrated. So now we make decisions based upon our sex drive. And half the time that's wrong. So we got to get better with this. But I wanted to share with you one of the reasons why coaching is a challenge. Because you cannot get emotionally set on hoping that they make the decisions that you give them. As a coach, I do it all the time. I give people decisions. I give them resolution. I provide them with information. Try this, try that, do this, do that. Because it helps them to make the better choice for themselves. I am the one that gives them the different options. It is not easy being sexually frustrated, and nobody wants to admit it. They don't. Who do you know wants to come over to your house and sit down and tell you how sexually frustrated that they are? So, and not to entice you to have sex with them, but just to tell you, I'm burdened by this. I'm really frustrated. Not a lot of people. Not a lot of people are going to tell you that. So it's vitally important that we really start to look at understanding if you want something different out of your results that you keep getting, you have to change. You have to make changes. You have to do something different. Sometimes we got to do something drastic. If you want a relationship and you desire to have that, first of all, you got to work on yourself. Are you good? Put it to you this way. If someone knew you in your totality, not your pretty version, not that part. I'm talking about you. The real you, the you that's flawed, the real you that passes gas and does all kinds of crazy stuff in the low. Nobody knows about it, but you hide it well. But all those things that you do, would you be with you? I mean, real talk. If you know you have certain things that you do that is not okay, why do you still do them? And then you expect somebody to love you because you're you? That's not how this works. Get that together first. Work on you first. Matter of fact, I have a whole series that I have on Facebook for free. You can hashtag it right now. You can go after this video. You can go into your search engine and hashtag alone series. No spaces. Hashtag alone series and get you some popcorn and sit up there, put it on YouTube and watch about the alone series. Just because you're alone don't mean you got to be lonely. Do you know the best time of your life is being alone? First of all, we want relationships so bad for a lot of reasons outside of the real reason we should be having relationships. Are you good with you first? A lot of times we trying to rush to a relationship. Oh, I want to get a relationship. It's time for a relationship. For what? Relationships should be cultivated out of pure care. Y'all's heart is connected. You feel a connection with them. They're moved by you. You're moved by them. Let's roll with this. But you're trying to make stuff happen. Let me make it this way. Let me do it this way. Let me try to get this man to want me. Does you see how fine he is and all that? We're doing too much. First of all, we need to first work on ourselves first. We are the most important person because whether you're in a relationship or not, get in a relationship and be miserable with yourself. You think a man's going to make that feel better? Especially if he's miserable with himself? No, y'all are two miserable people together trying to make a relationship. Check the percentages. I'm not the marriage advocate, but check the marriage percentages, the failure rates, people. Come on. What's the failure rates looking like? Are they good? When you look at the marriage rate, divorce rate, they're about 50%. Let your kid come home with a 50% approval rate on their report card. That's an F. So marriage is failing terribly. Marriages aren't working. Why though? Why they're not working is because there's a lack of self-love going on. He don't do this for me. He don't do this for me. She don't do this for me. I ask her to do this. She don't do that for me. Okay, but that is not why you're supposed to be in a relationship. Work on you first. Hands down. We can't get these kind of results and not do anything different. First of all, who are we choosing? What partners are you picking? Real talk. We're picking people and we don't even have a real blueprint as to what we want to be with because we don't know ourselves. Try that on for size. Don't know yourself and try to pick somebody for yourself. You're going to look at everything external. Everything external. So we have to step back and say, well, hold on a minute. I'm only looking for somebody else to fill this void, but I'm really miserable. Hey, Asifa. So I'm looking frustrated because I'm not where I need to be. But now in me not being where I need to be, I'm now trying to import someone new in my life. And they can't be what I need them to be either. So what do I need to do? You need to sit down and understand the way you love yourself is vital. I don't care what you do. I don't care what relationship it is. Don't love yourself and be a mama. Don't love yourself and be a girlfriend. Don't love yourself and be a lover. Don't love yourself and be in a relationship. Be married, be a wife, be a husband. Don't love yourself. And see what that relationship looks like. Give it about 2 months and look at it. Does it look wholesome? Does it look delicious? Are y'all hashtag goals? No, 9 times out of 10, we hashtagging goals on people and their relationships don't even look right. They look to be all over the place. Like, what is going on here? So we have to sit down and look at ourselves. We have to remember that outside of everything else in this lifetime, we have to make sure that we are loving ourselves. Being a coach is not the easiest thing to be. I didn't want to sign up for this. Being a coach is one of the hardest, toughest jobs to do because you're trying to, first of all, I'm a mom too. So I'm trying to parent my children. And in parenting your children, you tell them stuff, you advise them stuff, you give them things, you tell them resolutions. And half the time, what happens? It falls on deaf ears, right? You think that's bad. Try an old person, a grown-ass adult that you're trying to coach and tell them to do things. They're looking at you like, you don't know nothing? Well, what's your life look like? It's irrelevant. I'm telling you what's going to work. You either want it or you don't. Pick one. And then people are looking at you like, oh. But when they start to pay attention and they start heeding what I'm saying and they start doing the work, they start getting better results, then they're like, oh my God, I did what you said. You told me because I'm isolating myself and not putting myself in around people to get to know people, to put myself in a space with people, that I will start to get a new social life. You're not going to get a mate by happenstance. This is not lottery. How many people do you know play the lottery and win? I'll wait. How many people do you know win the lottery? I know a lot to play it, but how many win it? So we can't just put our love life, our sex life, our intimacy up for a lottery, up for chance, up for possibility, and then expect when we don't get nothing to be miserable. You've got to get serious about what your results are. You know, when I was in the Playgirl years, and you know, I talk about that all the time because that was like a season. I'll put it that way. It was a very delicious season, let me tell you. I would write down the ones that I liked. The ones that was around, the men that I talked to, and how sexy they were, and what kind of time we spent, what we did, and all that. So when I was in the Playgirl years, I was very clear as to what was going on. Was I looking to be in a relationship? No, I was just looking to have fun. And that's what I did. I had a girl. Listen, a blast. Now, we don't do the same intentions when we're looking for being in a relationship, though. We don't really sit down and really get serious and centered about what we need to do. What steps are we taking to pick and choose the mate that is more suitable for our life? Let me put you up on game with something. Something my daddy told me. There's more than one person for you. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Y'all still here? I ain't lose you. Okay. There's more than one person on the planet for you. So with that said, when you have more than one person on the planet for you, then why is it that we're not sitting down and mingling and conversating and getting to know more people? We put ourselves in this little bubble. We go to the grocery store and home, to the store and back. No friendships, not calling nobody, not telling nobody your intentions, and then wonder why you're still single. Why you're still not having a sexual partner. Why you're not in a good partnership with nobody. Why? Do you ask your friends, do they know any nice guys? Or, hey man, as many dudes that I coach, nice men, eligible, they talk to me all the time. Like, man, I would like a relationship. Does anybody else know that? You're telling your coach, but I'm not a dating person. I'm not somebody that can help coordinate you into a relationship. You're telling me, but you're not telling nobody that can help you with that. So what are your results then? What are you getting? What are you gaining by staying in this little bubble and not coming out, not saying nothing? Nothing but sexual oppression and sexually frustrated because you don't want to own the truth. The truth of the matter is, we want different results. We got to do something different. And we always want to say that we are set in our ways. Okay, but being set in your ways isn't working. You're still getting the same old stuff over and over again. We have got to start being uncomfortable with some of the things we're doing. When's the last time you took yourself out to eat? When's the last time you got to know yourself, man? When's the last time you did something you wanted to do for you? We're so miserable in our singleness. I hate being single. I hate being single. Look at me. I don't have nobody. I don't have nobody. Okay, but you have yourself. Shouldn't you be trying to learn about you? I'll tell you something. Drag that misery into a relationship and see how good it is. The people I coach, I'm telling you, I know a lot. I've seen a lot. I've talked to a lot of clients. And when I tell you, when they don't have their self-love in place, there is a huge amount of agony, a huge amount of frustration, because nobody wants to sit down and be in a relationship miserable like that. But they are, because they won't be in a relationship with themselves. They don't want to own their truth. You got a lot of stuff you are not dealing with. And so when you go into a relationship with somebody not dealing with what you need to be dealing with, trust me, they're going to expose to you who you are. I'm telling you what, man. As long as I can remember, I'm very, very big about teaching my clients that you cannot skip the step of, number one, loving you, and number two, having your spiritual life in alignment. Those two things, if they are not set up properly, and you add a person in your life, I'm telling you right now, it is not going to work. It's not, no matter how hard you try. You can try to make it work. You can, trust me, I was a queen to try to make something work. I was that chick. Oh, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make it work. And it didn't work. Because at the end of the day, there was a lot of things I didn't have done. I didn't have my foundation ready. I'm not going to put a house on top of barren land and then expect for the house not to collapse. You got to have yourself right first. So, all in all, in closing, let me just say this. When you want different results, you have to make decisions that's not going to be comfortable for you. You're going to have to do something that's quite different than your norm. If your norm, every time you open your eyes up every morning and you're seeing your life and you're just not happy with what you're seeing, I don't care if it's in your parental life, your self life, or your love life, you're looking around and you're like, I'm not happy with this. Only you can change it. Trust me. Only you. Nobody else can change it. Even if you're in a relationship with your kids and they're acting a fool and not respectful and all that, that has to come from you to make the change first. First of all, you can disassociate with your children. You can disassociate with your lover. You can disassociate with yourself until you really get down and dirty with yourself. I had to do some hard work on me. Hard work. It was not easy. And then I had to own my shit. And now when I'm coaching people, I have to be transparent. So not only did I have to teach myself to not only work on me, but then I had to expose my own shit. Do you know how embarrassing that is? A lot of stuff I was doing that was not kosher, not right. Especially when there was feelings involved. Man, I was doing a lot of stuff that was just ridiculous. Like, why would you do that? How am I loving my men that I'm in a relationship with? How am I loving them? I looked back and I was like, oh, I'm doing a horrible job. Horrible job. But I wouldn't have told nobody that, because I thought I was doing great. Well, look at me. I'm curling the code. You know what you talking about? I know how to love a man. No, the hell I didn't. No, I didn't. I said that, but I didn't. Let's just keep it a buck. But I had to do the work. So now I have to expose my own stuff. Let me tell you something about women. We have a tendency to love and to love strong, and we think we love and right. 9 times out of 10, we don't know what the hell we're talking about. Because a lot of times there, and I talked about this recently, there's gender segregation. Well, in a certain time in our life, we're pulled apart from men or pulled apart from the male species, like they're a disease or something. And it's usually when we get about in adolescence, our parents tear us away from the male species, as though we're going to have sex and have kids or whatever the hell they thought. And so we'll disconnect, and then in that disconnection, we'll find ourselves completely ignorant to how men work. I don't even know what's the inner workings of a man's mind. I don't know. I just assumed that they think like me until I got knowledge that they don't think any goddamn way like me. I was like, really? I thought I knew men. No, honey, you don't know. You thought you knew, but you don't. And got confident in thinking I knew the way men think until I had to sit amongst men and they had to put me up on game, and I ended up being like a little sister to like 8 or 9 men that just started pouring in me like, this is how we really think. This is what we really feel. This is what we're thinking about. This is how we work. This is what we do. And I'm like, this is a lot. This is a lot. This is education I didn't get from college. I didn't get this at the church. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get none of this. None of this was told to me. Well, baby girl, we're about to bring you into the locker room of the real truth behind what men think. And I was flabbergasted. I guess that's the best word for it. Flabbergasted. I did not know men thought those ways or thought this way or thought this or thought that. And I was just taken back like, are you serious? Men think this? What? You got to be kidding me. So in that, I'm like, nothing. There was nothing. We don't even see eye to eye on a lot of shit. And I'm like, okay. So then I had to go into meditation and I had to ask God, well, hold on, God. Now you putting men and women together. But we have absolutely no clue as to what men think and how women think. So how is this supposed to work? Because Jesus knows I was doing a lot trying to make it work. You hear me? Reading books and buying little relationship kits that the little ladies would tell me they know what they talking about. I'm trying to read about that, reading Cosmopolitan. And none of them knew what the hell they were talking about. I didn't get the raw truth until I sat my ass down and talked to some real men about some real shit. And I was like, oh, I was so wrong on so many levels. So now I had to sit down and say, okay, so what am I going to take from this? How am I going to learn how to tell the goddesses that, you know, you're not wrong by the way you see things, but you have to understand we see things differently. So with that said, it's not that we're right or wrong. See, because we have all these movies and these books and these romance novels and soap operas and real life shows, what is it, real TV and all this stuff, constantly showing us images of what love lives are supposed to look like. Some look good, some not so good, some look crazy as hell, and you're like, this is what my point of reference is? So how does my life look like this? But it's looking nothing like what the movies, the romance novels that I read look like. I'm confused. And not only that, I'm frustrated because I want men to be this. But men are not this. Men are this. So I'm like, oh God. This isn't easy for me. But I realized that when I got cultivated in the understanding of the way the inner workings of the man's mind works, that it doesn't have any bearing weight on how I think. We think differently, but yet if you get with men that have a respect for a woman's mind, then there comes a harmony. Then there comes a time where you're like, damn, okay, so you think differently. I think this way, you think this way. We mesh together and now we build on a newfound what? Cultivation of harmony. Because I'm like, we don't even see a lot of shit the same. This is crazy, you know. But I think it's good that we sit down and we talk about this, because the way we see things, we think is concrete. It's not concrete. But again, we have to do a lot of seeking and focus on ourselves. And then we have to be willing to listen. Listen. I know we wear earrings, ladies, but are we listening with these things? Are we listening? Or are we just sitting here waiting to talk? As a woman, we a lot of times love talking. We love to enjoy and conversate and talk about this and talk about that. And a lot of times we're just listening to hear if we're in agreement with what you're saying. It's not necessarily that we're listening to gather in detail some true, real thoughts. We aren't listening to learn. We're listening to respond. Hold on. Oh, you didn't leave? Okay. We're listening to respond. We're not listening to hear. We're not listening to gain knowledge. We're listening to respond. That irks the shit out of men. It irks the shit out of men. They get so frustrated with that shit. They're like, stop it. I'm talking to you. I know you're talking to me. I hear you, but you're not listening to me. So that was one of the hardest parts, was listening to men and listening and allowing them to be true in their honesty. Allowing men to be, I guess, raw without me getting into that judgmental state. Because a lot of times as a woman, if a man would say something that I didn't agree with, I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to get judgmental. I'm gonna assume that, you're wrong. Not always. It's always not right or wrong. Sometimes it's just different. We see things differently. Okay, I get it now. But in order for us to have fruitful desire for a relationship and to make sure it's really going to work for us, we have to sit down and start to partake in listening, start to focus on what we can do to make our harmony better with men. We don't have enough male friendships. We don't. If you really think about it, how many women really have a lot of male friendships? A lot of women fear men in their presence and their company. I had a woman I was coaching, man, she was terrified of men. To the point her whole image of men was so distorted. I was like, do you have any male friends? Oh no. It's obvious because you know nothing about men. Nothing. And it's like, we have got to build relationships and have friendships with men, or we're going to continue to have relationships that look like it's looking. 50% failure rate in marriage. I don't know what the percentage of the inner workings of the relationships that are not married but living together. I don't know the percentage on that. But what we are documenting in this society is the marital rate, the divorce rate. How good is it? What is it looking like? And it's looking horrible. Horrible. I'm telling you now. Let your kids have 50% rate on their report card and you be whooping some ass. Because that's all F's. So in order to get better, in closing, again, in order to get better, we have to change some things. We have to change the way we look at things. We have to change the way we do things. We have to be willing to get uncomfortable. If we keep doing the same thing over and over, we're going to keep getting the same result. If you want a relationship, then you need to start to become better in yourself. Become more significant in you. You can't come to the table. And we'll just use it as an example. A significant man or a significant woman shows up and she's ready. Honey, please. You sit at that table, you better be ready. If you're not ready, it's not going to work. This is on life. So we have to really sit down. And like Cheryl said, in social media, relationships are suffering because the self-relationships are suffering. Nobody's having love of self. The love of self is compromised. Oh, I love myself a little bit. I love myself when I'm pretty. I love to show my selfies now. Look at me. I'm so beautiful. But are you loving yourself when you're in your ugly state? No. We hide that. We don't post those pictures. We don't post when our hair's all over our head. We don't post those. We don't post when we're ugly and cussing at our kids or cussing at our mate or feeling jealous or doing all kinds of stuff or contemplating how we gonna get back at our best friends. We don't post that stuff. There's no way. I'm not posting that. Was I jealous last week? Oh, absolutely. I'm not gonna post it though. I'm not gonna post that. Nope. You ain't gonna see that on my timeline. You ain't gonna see that. Have I been angry at my children, either one of them, because they weren't doing what they're supposed to do? Absolutely, but I won't post that on my timeline. Why? I'm not going to show that part, man. And nor are you. On God, you guys are not going to post how you acted a fool at your man outside, acting a fool and cussing him out, all that. You're not going to show that on social media and tell people, look how good I look. They're going to be like, what is wrong with you? Why would you show that? That's, oh my goodness. So we're only going to bring our best sides to ourselves. We're only going to tell the person that we're dating or interested in the goodness of ourselves. We're not going to tell nobody about how we do this and do that and we get jealous at times and we can act an ass and we can cuss and act a fool. We're not going to do that, right? So we got to keep it a buck. Again, we have to be honest with self, though. How you going to present yourself as an angel? That man gets in a relationship with you and you are all over him, slapping him, acting an ass, and acting a fool. He's like, who is this person? You know what I'm saying? Same with women. We have men that come in our lives and Prince Charming and all that, and you find out this dude ain't even, he looked the part. He looked nice. He looked presentable. But then, Ray, he looked presentable. But then come to find out, this dude is a joke. He is a joke. Not to mention, not only just a joke, but he's fake. So we have to sit down and really be honest with ourselves. We first have to start with ourselves. The reason why I say it's important we look at ourselves and we really digest the truth behind our own soul is because when you come to the table with being in a relationship, whatever type of relationship you're wanting to desire, when that soul or souls approach you, you want it to match you. So first, you got to fall in love with yourself. Because no matter what, if you don't, it's not going to be good for you. Trust me. We have to learn to love ourselves. It is vitally important. I wanted to share with you guys the importance of sex today because sex is important. Yes, and there are many times that many of us are sexually frustrated, but we don't want to talk about it because it's not pretty. No woman wants to sit up here and say, oh, I was sexually frustrated for about 8 or 9 months and I had to do some really drastic things to get my mind off of the fact that I'm not having any. Nobody wants to talk about that, but it needs to be talked about because at the end of the day, we are human. We have our own sexual needs. We have our own sexual desires. And at the end of the day, if they're not being met, something drastic is going to happen. We're going to make quick, dumbass decisions to try to get that off. And what happens? We have some craziness going on, don't we? Well, I'm just going, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm going to go to the club. I'm going to get me a boyfriend. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that just to get this off. I can't do this no more. I can't be in this arrangement where I'm constantly frustrated sexually. Okay. But are you going about it the right way? Are you doing the things the right way? Are you doing what you need to do to make sure that you're not making decisions based upon what your drive is in need of? So we have to sit down and look at that. That's vitally important. It's very important. I hope y'all got something from this today. It's very important. Listen, I'm taking on right now I'm doing different sessions. Pretty reasonably. At this point, I really want to help and assist people that are struggling. Right now, I'm trying to focus on the men. I got some men that I already have a couple sessions today that I'm going to work with about them being cold-hearted because they've been hurt. And I will have also some openings for women that are bitter because they've been hurt. Because I think it's important that we work on ourselves first. If you want to have a relationship, a very fruitful, desiring relationship, you first have to work on you. So working with the bitter women and working with the cold-hearted gentlemen is going to be a challenge because for me, I have to tap into why. And a lot of times the why is coming from the reason why most people are cold-hearted or bitter is because there's a lack somewhere inside themselves. They're upset or have a high expectation of certain things that they're not receiving. And when they're not receiving something, it's making them frustrated. It's making them hurt. And then they continue to, layer up all these layers of how they're feeling based upon what happened in their past. Let me tell you something. You can take this to the bank and cash it. We are engulfed in experiences and in our past a lot of times. So how James treated me, how the dude before James, how this one treated me, what I went through with this one, and how this one did me, is all going to go forward into your relationship, your next relationship. Guarantee you that. Especially if you don't deal with what happened here and how this happened. Because the how is more important than the why. Let me put you up on game something. Take this to the bank too. Nobody is going to not hurt you. Life is full of disappointment. You are going to get disappointed. I don't care how much you love them, how much you adore them. They are going to hurt you. You will be disappointed. So if you don't get this, you're going to struggle with being cold-hearted and being bitter. Hands down. I have on my wall, expect nothing and appreciate everything, on my wall as I go up my steps every single day. It's on my staircase. Why? Because as long as I expect nothing but appreciate everything, it changes how I live my life. I start to find something that's more joyful in the inside of me because I'm not expecting anything, but I'm loving and appreciating everything. That includes my disappointments. That includes my hurts. That includes my heartbreaks. That includes my exes. Yes, I appreciate each and every one of them. All of them. Even the ones that hurt me the worst. I appreciate every one of them. Thankful for every one of them. Every single one. I'm thankful for them. Why? Because I got something from them. Guess what I got? I got experience. I got understanding. I also got a true, honest look at myself, because in all of my exes is my reflection. Where was I at the time I met that person? They were a reflection of me. So all of my exes, I'm very appreciative of. All of them. Appreciate all of them and wish all of them well. Every one of them. If any of them reach out to me right now, I will care enough about them to take their call. All of them. That's crazy. I know. But at the end of the day, they were a reflection. They are our experience that I had with my exes makes me who I am today as a woman. Because I got something from them. I received, listen to this, I received knowledge of myself from them. So my exes are my joy. My exes are my hurts. My exes are my pain. My exes are my excitements. What moved me to get with them? Why? All of that was important for me to get the knowledge of that. Oh, so when I was in love with him, it was because I was in love with something inside me that matched him. Again, it's so true. A lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth about an ex that hurt them. Honey, you will die miserable. Holding on to all that anger about what he did and how he did this to you. Because a lot of times, guess what? Remember I told you I had some real education from men. Guess what happened? The men told me that a lot of times, all that we hold up with such high regard is cheating, right? You cheated on me. You cheated. Infidelity. Oh my God, no he didn't. That girl, this girl. Guess what I found out? Take this to the bank and cash it. It don't have nothing to do with you. Woo! Better sip on that. You better sip on that. Let that digest. Sip. Take a sip with me. Come on. A lot of times it didn't have nothing to do with you at all. Nothing. So while you all in your feelings, no he didn't, and who is she, and why is this, and oh my goodness, all of that shit didn't mean a hill of beans, because it didn't have nothing to do with you. Man, listen. When I got that knowledge, it was deep. Not only was it deep, it was so uplifting, because I understood that this life ain't just about me. Come on. Am I a beautiful person, a good person? Do I enhance lives? Do I change lives? Do I impart in lives? All day. But this little world ain't about me. There's many people more fabulous than me, doing their thing better than me. But at the end of the day, all I can be is me. So what does that have to do? His different movements and who he's moving with and what woman is this and who's that. All of that is irrelevant. I found out from many, many men that all the stuff that we talk about between me and our girlfriends don't have a shit to do with what they're talking about. Men do not sit around and talk about us like that. On God, they don't. So we have got to stop. We have got to stop. Again, it comes to a point where we have to look at self first. Some of us look at our past relationships like we were the only ones in them. Come on now. Are we going to be honest this morning? Are we going to be honest this morning? Some of us look at our ex relationships like we were the only ones in it. Come on, tell me the truth now. I know I'm not just talking about myself. Listen, I can go down from my first boyfriend all the way to my last husband. And I can tell you right now, when I look at all of that, I can say, well, he did this to me and he did this to me and he was cheating and he was doing this and he was doing that. Like I was, like they were the only ones. Like I was the only one and I was the only one hurt. I never hurt none of my exes. I can't say that. I can't say that. I can't say I never hurt an ex. I can't say I never did something that was wrong. I can't say that. If I say that, I guarantee you this. I could tag all of my exes and one of them will say, you know better than that. You were not flawless, baby girl. Come on. But a lot of times when we look back, we look at it as, oh, it was all him. He ain't do nothing. He was doing this and he was doing that. But truth be told, I was doing stuff. Does that mean I was right or wrong? It means I was different in my wrongness, but it don't mean it wasn't felt or hurtful what I was doing. So again, we can sit all day and talk about, well, I didn't do this and he did that and oh my goodness and all this and it doesn't matter whether or not I want to feel one way or not. The reality is I've done some wrong in my relationships. So I don't have no right to be on a high horse. Like, I didn't do nothing wrong, honey, please. I was all angel. And no, that is not facts. That is not fact. That's not even, I can't even say that with a straight face. So again, this is why I said certain things we've done in our past, we can only look at from our own viewpoint. But we don't want to open up the peripheral vision and look at, you was doing some shit too. You wasn't all angel. You wasn't all perfect. Even though you may have thought you were. I clean up well. I can look the part. I can look like an angel, but I wasn't. That's just what it is. Let's keep it a buck. Do I work on myself all the time? I check myself in daily. Not to mention, I had a long conversation with the higher source this morning about my actions and how I act and what I think and how I feel and where I was at. Jesus, I was feeling this, okay? I was feeling some type of way on this. Did I do that? Yes, I did. Because you have to. We don't have a right to sit in our righteousness like, but we don't do nothing wrong when we do. Listen, I don't even go places like that. I don't go a lot of places. I don't be out. I don't be at the clubs. I don't do this. I don't do that. But do I have my issues and do I have feelings? Yes. Do I feel some type of way at times? Hell yes. Do I have my time when I'm like sexually frustrated? Yes. Come on now. I don't sit up here and act like I don't have these issues. This is how come I can talk about them. Because I, myself, have dealt with it. And then I have to sit back in my own thinking and say, well, if I deal with it, and I don't really be out like that. If I'm dealing with it, what's going on with people that have more opportunity? What's going on with people that have more going on in their life? They're struggling. So because I know that I'm challenged. I know that a lot of times I'm challenged in ways that maybe a lot of people might not be, but I have to be in order to coach. I can't coach people if I don't know nothing. It's just, that don't make sense. So I have to go through some things to be like, oh, let me get the lesson from that and then put it here. And then when people come to me and say, I'm struggling with my wife. I'm struggling with my spouse. my sex life is non-existent. I don't feel happy anymore. I'm sad in the inside. I can't get it together. I have moments of jealousy. I'm jealous of my brother for making all this money and I'm not making shit. I'm jealous of my sister. She's doing this and she's doing that and I can't get a penny or a crumb from my parents. I'm jealous of this. I'm jealous of that. My one cousin got this and I didn't get this. It's real out here, honey. So I have to have those emotions or those feelings to raise up in my spirit in order to coach other people that's dealing with stuff, including the stuff that maybe isn't pretty. It isn't pretty to sit up here and say, oh, I was jealous last week. I was jealous yesterday. I have a certain feeling. For instance, we can be jealous in our friendships. You hear what I'm saying? I could be jealous of something so small, like, well, they think their jewelry's prettier than my jewelry. So now my jewelry's good too. Why don't they appreciate my jewelry that I create? That's jealousy. Period. I don't care how you wanna look at it. Matter of fact, perfect example. I want my kids to think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. There's been times when my daughter might find somebody else more spicier than her mama. Okay? Am I jealous? I've had moments of jealousy of that. Well, you don't think your mama isn't fabulous? Come on now. I keep it a buck. I don't candy coat shit. I keep it a buck. So I have to look at it for what it is. Do I have jealous feelings? Yes. Do I feel some type of way about things? Yes. I have best friends that I talk to every day, and maybe I don't talk to them for a couple of days or don't talk to them, when I think that's been too long. Well, who they talking to? You ain't even called to check on me or nothing. Like, who's taking up your time? All of that stuff is real. So in order for me, listen, like I tell you all the time, in order for me to be a top coach, I have to tell people about the truth. The truth of the matter is I deal with the same stuff, if not worse, because I have to. I have to know how it is to feel jealous if I'm going to coach people that are dealing with jealousy. And then I have to figure out which ways to change the jealous feelings. How do I uplift someone and get them out of that thinking? All of these things are real. How do I help? Let me tell you something. I had a client, and he and his woman were on the brink of being done, completely and totally done. And I had to come up with a way to get him centered in his thinking. He took my course, Love Lottery. He took my course called Love Lottery. He went and took the course. He told me when we were in the middle of a counseling session, when I was asking him them tough questions now, because I get tough. I asked him some raw questions. He was real frustrated by it. He said, I don't want to answer these no more. I said, okay. That's fine. We can end the session. When I tell you, it was probably maybe about 6 or 7 weeks later. I'm going through my timeline, mind you, and I'm seeing him with this woman. And I'm like, did he get himself a new relationship or what? Well, come to find out, it's the same woman. She went and branched off and did her self-work. The work that he did with the Love Lottery course he took, he went out of the country and did his own self-work. And I come to find out, he turns around and repairs his relationship with the woman that he was on the brink of losing. And now they're in a beautiful relationship. Now they're still together and happy and smiling. Just seen pictures the other day. They're still doing well. And I'm like, you know what? I'm thankful for that. I'm very thankful for that. Because it was not easy for him to look at himself. Some of his own, listen to this, some of his own images of himself, what he expected of himself, was killing his relationship. And it took him to have to sit down and look at himself and say, okay, so what am I doing in my own self-image? I told him, you letting everybody in your life. You don't have no parameters up in your life. So drug dealers can come in, thieves can come in, cheaters can come in, liars can come in, everybody can come in. and it's all good. It's not all good. You have to have parameters up in your life. You got to start closing the door on some people, man. It's just that fact. It's just that simple. If you don't, you're going to have your life, your family, and everything broken apart. You got to change how you're looking at things. I know I took up a lot of y'all's time. Listen, but I had to do this. I had to be moved to do this. I have to let y'all know, if you need a coach, come out. Hey, listen. Carla Nicole Wisdom Coaching Services is on Facebook. If you want a coach, you can get an initial free 30 minutes with me. We can sit down and talk about a plan. I right now have the Wisdom subscription. That's $100 a month. You get 2 hours from me where I will tell you how to help improve. It's very simple. It's very affordable. You don't have to go broke to get sessions. It's just not that simple. So just come see me. I'm very approachable. You can inbox me. Hey, I need some help. I'm struggling being cold. I'm struggling being bitter. I want a different happening in my life. I don't know where to start. Holler at your girl. I got courses out here. I have love lottery for gents. I got all kinds, mastering your feelings. I got awakening your gifts. Listen, I got courses out here. Very affordable courses that you could be taking to help your life, period. It's just up to you to take them. They're here. They're here. And listen, hey, Carla, hey, I need that course. What I got to do? Just call me. 844-5-WISDOM, extension 0. Call me. I'm a call away. It's just that easy. If you want different results, you got to do something different, period. It's not, you're miserable because Sally got this and Jimmy got that and they got this and they got that. You mad at them. You need to be looking at you. What can you do different? How are you willing to get uncomfortable? Let me tell you something about me being your coach. I don't pacify you. I make you work. You're going to do the work. Trust me. You're going to do the work. But outside of that, you're going to also learn how important it is to do the work and find the better results. There's nothing more joyful than I'm on the phone with a client and they're whispering about the good things that's happening in their life. I'm like, are you whispering that? Yes, I don't want them to hear me, but this is going good and this is going good. And guess what happened? I'm like, really? Okay, cool. So what does that make me feel like? I'm just giving you the tools. You have to implement them to make them work. But I give you the tools and then you take them and you do with them what you so see fit. But I'm going to give you the guidance. I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. And then, not to mention, when you get the results, you're going to come back and tell me what happened. I'm not going to reach out to you to try to, what are you doing? Are you doing the work? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? You come to me. Always. Every time I've coached somebody and told them what to do, I leave them to their own devices. I give you the tools. You coming to me with a tool belt that's empty. Okay. Oh, you got that going on here. Try this wrench. Okay, what about this hammer? Put this on. Try this. Try that. And then send you on your way. Because like I said, you get me for two sessions a month, which is 2-hour sessions a month. And then I just hand you the tools. Here's this tool. Here's this tool. And send you on your way. I don't call you every day. Are you doing the work? That's not me. I'm just going to hand you the tools. And then as you take the tools and apply them to what I'm telling you to do, you'll see the results on your own. I ain't gotta call you to find out. You'll tell me. Because I have many times been busy doing something and I'll get a call coming in, a video call. Guess what? What? You remember you told me such and such and such? Yes, I remember. Well, guess what? This worked. Okay, I knew it worked. I know, give you some. Listen, when I take a client on, I take the whole client on. Not only do I take you on, but I meditate about what you got going on. I do the work. I do the research. I pray about you. All of that. I'm not just doing this by myself. I got the higher level helping me too. And so I'm asking, well, what are you looking for? What do you want? And they'll tell me, well, I'm looking for this. I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to do, okay. Here, try this tool on. Put this one on. Let's see how that works. And come back and see me. We'll talk in 2 weeks. And 9 times out of 10, if they're doing the work, serious about results, listen. I'm looking at them like, damn, you ain't playing, are you? Really? Being a wisdom coach isn't easy, like I said, because you're giving tools and then you're hoping to God they're using them. But those that are using them, I already know because they call me. They'll call me on random. You are you good? Can I call you real quick? I tell you all this great news that's going on. Look at my family life. Parents, they call me frustrated about their kid. Oh, my kid is doing this and doing that. Oh my goodness, and this and that. And I'm like, really? Try on this tool. Put this on. Do this. Do this. Next thing I know, my kid is doing wonderfully. We are getting along. We're going out to eat together. We're talking about this. They got this plan going on and this plan going on. And look at you. Now you whispering to me about how great your life is. Listen, I can't make this stuff up. I'm having all kinds of clients that are doing what they need to do. And it don't cost them hardly nothing. $50 a month ain't going to make me rich. $50 every 2 weeks doesn't make me rich. It makes me sharp on my game. Being able to do that with wisdom subscription is for a reason. I'm helping people to change their life, change their direction, change what they see every morning. I'm tired of this marriage looking like this. You can change it. I can, yeah. But he don't want to do this. I ain't saying nothing about him. I'm talking about you. What are you going to do for you? It's so simple. It's so easy. But yet it's so challenging for me because as a coach, I got to make sure everybody's in alignment, right? I got to make sure everybody's doing what they need to do, right? No, that's not my job as a coach. I'm just supposed to give the tools. I'm supposed to do the meditation. I'm supposed to do the consult. I'm supposed to make sure I show up and care about what I'm doing. I got to make sure I'm doing what I need to do. I have to feel what a lot of my clients are feeling. So like I said, I have to feel jealousy. I have to feel sexually frustrated. I have to feel discontent. I have to feel emotional distress. I have to feel all those things or I couldn't coach no damn body. If I'm sitting up here in my perfectness, I don't have problems, then I can't coach nobody. How am I supposed to coach you when I don't have no problems? That don't make sense, does it? So again, I love all of you guys. If you need a coach, hit me up. Like I said, $50 every 2 weeks. You get me for an hour every 2 weeks. I give you your whole coaching plan. I also ask you to evaluate me. How am I doing? What do you want out of this coaching arrangement? It ain't just me in there. And like I said earlier, we always look at our exes like we were the only ones in the relationship. No, when you coaching with me, we both in here. Not just me. Not just you. Both of us. So what do you want in this coaching arrangement or relationship? Let's start off first with a coaching relationship. You want a love relationship, but you won't be compliant in a love coaching relationship. How do you think a love relationship is going to look? Think about it. It's all about relating, honey. I'm not going to sit here and judge you, but I am going to give you some tools to help you change some things. You got to get uncomfortable. You're not going to stay in this life being comfortable and not having anything change. You've got to get up off your ass and do some things that you don't want to do. Whether you're an introvert or extrovert. Sometimes extroverts talk too damn much. You're talking too much. You can't hear nothing. And then the introverts don't want to say nothing, so they're just blending into the woodwork. Got to do better. In order to do better, we got to change some things. Just that simple. Like I also tell you guys all the time, make sure you go over to my YouTube channel. Carla Nicole Wisdom Channel. Go over there and subscribe. My wisdom channel is all full of all kinds of things. But for the most part, it's a lot of sexual education. It's a lot about relationship understanding and things like that. Coaching is over there. Go over to my wisdom YouTube channel. Because at the end of the day, I don't do this just for nothing. I'm trying to impart in you guys the importance of doing the work. Because I have to. Regardless if I want to or not. I have to do it. It's just that simple. Listen, guys, I'm out of here. It's Sunday. I got some things I got to get done. I have a body work session today. I got 2 coaching sessions today, so I'm going to be busy. But like I said, hey, listen, I love all of you guys. I want you guys to remember, you are a flame. All of you. Okay? So always remember you're a flame. So it's very important that you stay ablazed. So get lit and stay lit. This is Carla Nicole. I'm signing off. Best kept. Have a great day, guys.